Hi everyone, I hope you're well. Welcome back to another episode of Graceful Realities. I am thrilled to introduce today's guest, Natasha. Natasha is currently pursuing a Bachelor of Science in Information Technology in Computer Science and Informatics. She is a member of the Eugenius Club, representing the top 1% in academics. Beyond her studies, she mentors high school students and tutors physical science and mathematics. She is a proud matriculant of Mondio High School, where she achieved 7 distinctions with an impressive 85% average. She served as the head girl, receiving academic full colors, and was honored with Bronze Honors Academic Awards. Hi Natasha, how are you doing?
Hi Ashley, I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of Graceful Realities.
You're welcome. It is such a pleasure. I'm so honored to be here.
That's lovely. So today we're going to be speaking about academics, academic excellence. So you are someone who's really excelling in your academic space, from primary school to high school, you've just been excelling. So what is something that motivates you to maintain that high level of excellence when it comes to, your performance in your academics?
Oh, okay. I think I'm a very goal-orientated person. So I like to see the things that I set out for myself to get done. So I would say what motivates me and inspires me to thrive for academic excellence is the goals that I set for myself in the academic space. I really enjoy seeing myself go through the process of achieving those goals, and that really motivates me to achieve them. So just seeing those goals that I've made for myself being ticked off, that's what motivates me.
Oh, that's really amazing. So I know you set goals in terms of what you want to achieve, but are there any goals that you set in terms of the preparation to attaining, the bigger goal? Do you have any specific daily habits or, study like routines that you have in place to ensure that you're able to excel academically?
Yes, I actually do. I think as you continue to, go through your academic journey and your academic career, you realize how so many things in your life affect how your brain works, affects how you understand work and retain material and information that is being given to you, right? So I also try to set a lot of health orientated goals and goals that are related to my lifestyle. I like to set sleeping times because I know that sleeping is very important and that rest for your brain is very important. So I always set a goal of how much sleep I want to get on a daily basis. I also set goals when it comes to how I want my environment and my space to be, especially the space that I'm going to be studying in. I'm a person who likes to work with color and aesthetic, instruments. So I always make sure that I have the materials and the environment that allows me to want to study. When you have a beautiful looking notebook, you get like encouraged to open it all the time. And in opening it, you're always, being exposed to the work that you'll be doing in that notebook. So I also like to make sure that the environment that I'm working in is always, top notch. And that's a goal that I set for myself to just, continuously have a motivating and inspiring environment to work in. And also just planning ahead, always having calendars and, to-do lists around me so that I can see, what I'm doing, what I need to do, when I need to do it, and that motivates me and inspires me to actually continue to go and achieve my goals because I know this is what I need to do when I need to do it, and I don't have to think about it when I wake up. So those are some things that are outside of academics that help me to actually achieve those goals, and there's a goals I set for myself outside of academics.
Okay. So you mentioned, having the right environment, having the right atmosphere. What are some of the things that you do as well to ensure that you are, ready? Like what do you do to prepare in terms of your study methods? Do you write notes beforehand? Are you writing notes in class? What is your study techniques, some of your study techniques? Obviously, they're not going to work for everybody, but for you specifically, what are some of the study tips or methods that have worked for you thus far?
Okay, so thus far, I've learned that it's really important for you to expose yourself to the material that you're going to engage in class. It's very good for you to already get into the class knowing what it is you're going to be learning about, because that helps you to start asking questions and start getting curious. And once you start asking questions and getting curious before the class, when you're in the class, you're actually able to engage one with the lecturer, and you're also allowing yourself to be in a place where someone who's got a lot more knowledge about the topic to give you answers to the questions that you would have created before getting into the class. And that just also just helps you to be prepared in the class, and it helps you to stay alert in the class. Because when you ask yourself questions before you get into the class, right? When this lecturer is speaking, your brain is looking for the answers to the questions that you have. So you're alert and you're listening and you're trying to say, like, okay, oh, I asked this question about what color was Ashley wearing today. So the moment the lecturer speaks of the word color, your mind is like, oh, I had a question about color. What are they speaking about in terms of color? So it also keeps you alert when you prepare before class. And also, I personally like to see colorful things and I like to see highlighted things. So I also make it a habit for me to get into the lecture and highlight as I go along, because I remind myself of what is being said using those colors that I use during the lecture. And when I do then get home and I'm writing notes, I know, okay, if it's highlighted in red, the lecturer said, keep this in mind. And then I know to put an emphasis on it when I further go and revise in the future for that particular topic. So if I were to condense what I said, I'll just say prep before the class, try and be alert in the class and take down notes and highlight and be alert when the lecturer is teaching or speaking, and engage with them. And then when you're done with the lecture, always revise what you've heard and what you've learned when you get home after an hour or so of being exposed to the information. I think that is, the best methods that I have come to see work for.
Yes, that's so wonderful. Those are very, very good tips
Mm,
and methods. And I can attest to some of them, when I was studying as well. Paying attention and, preparing before you attend your lectures or classes really helps
mm.
because, when you're in class or you're attending that lecture, that's not the first time you're seeing that work,
Yes,
you
yes.
already have an idea of like the context of what you're going to be learning. So now
Mm,
it's like drilling it into your head even more.
mm.
So by the time the exam comes, you've heard it already quite a bit of like many you've heard it many times already. And it's
Yes.
not that thing of, the first time you attend class that day is the first time that you're hearing it. And
Mm,
then maybe the second time you go through it again is when
mm,
you're studying. Because obviously, for me, what I used to do is, prepare before my lecture. In the
mm,
lecture, you like revisiting that same work,
mm.
and then also make study notes. So that's already three
Yes,
times before the exam comes. And then obviously
exactly.
when the exam or the test comes, then you already, it's embedded in your head,
Mm,
right?
mm, mm.
So excelling academically isn't always easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy. So can you share some of some, okay, let's rather say one challenging moment that you had in your academic journey, and how did you overcome that challenge?
Oh, okay. Yo, I don't think I have, you know what? I don't think I have many that stood out the way this one stood out, right? But I remember in first year, I had to write a sup for Math 1B. Oh my gosh. When I saw sub granted on my report, I was like, I think this is a mistake because this is not me. But yeah, that was one very challenging moment academically for me when I had to write a sub, because coming from high school and coming from primary school, I was always a person who would like, get really, really high marks. Like I was never sitting at like a 50% or like a 40%. So when I saw the sub granted, it was like, girl, you're sitting at a 50%. And I was like, huh, what? And I know I've come to learn that it can be very discouraging to see that, or it can be very discouraging to find yourself having to rewrite something or redo something. Because when you do it the first time, feel confident enough that you're completely prepared for this thing. So when it comes back and they're like, you have to repeat this thing, you're kind of like, wow, okay, I gave my 100% in the first try. So what more can I actually give? Like, I don't think I'm capable of giving 101%. But you come to realize, as time goes by and you continue to grow and move through your academic journey, that you're not always going to be the person who knows the most. You're not always going to be the person who's going to get it right 100% the first time. And you just need to remind yourself of all the times you did well, and remember that you are still that person, and you still carry those qualities, and you still carry those capabilities. So right now you may have to redo it again, but it doesn't mean that you're redoing it again from start without any knowledge. You're redoing it with all the other experiences you've had and all the knowledge you've gained, and you just need to try again and do your best one more time again, and you'll be so surprised with how much more you can actually give when you're given a second chance. And I think when I faced that academic challenge, I just told myself, you know what? Even though I've never been in this place where I have had to redo something again, the fact that I could be prepared the first time, it means that I can be prepared the second time. And I'm going to redo what I did the first time, and I'm going to look for ways to do a bit more than I did the first time and see how it goes. And it's not the end of the world. Writing a sub is not going to kill me. I'm not going to die. No one's going to eliminate me from the game of life. It just really is life. And through that, I learned, how to persevere. And I learned that it's not really a scary thing to do something the second time. It's just another opportunity to try again and take that opportunity as best as you can. So, yeah, that was one of my challenges or academic challenges I faced and how I got through it.
Yes, that is so true. Hey, when you have to do something again or you don't excel as expected the first time, it takes a
Mm,
specific sort of mindset for you to actually come to the realization that, you know what, it's not the end of the world. And you
mm,
must see it as another opportunity for you to, learn, to grow,
mm.
and to just find different ways of doing things. Maybe the first time you were studying alone, maybe this time join a study group or maybe study with your
Yeah.
friends, and you'll see
Mm,
when you have that mindset of, it's not the end of the world, you'll notice you'll even perform way, way better than maybe you did before you faced this hurdle or challenge. So it's actually
mm,
so amazing that, you were able to overcome. You had that wonderful mindset of, I'm not going to let this defeat me. It's not the end of the world. I'm going to do and be better. So
mm.
it also takes a specific level of faith. So I want to know from you, like, how has your faith influenced you with your academic journey? How has your faith helped you to overcome challenges like this? How has your faith like changed your perspective on how you see, the process of learning, the process of, just knowing that you are able to do anything because you have the Holy Spirit inside of you, because you are actually a person who trusts the Lord and knows that, He has great plans for you.
I think my faith has helped me academically, um, by helping me to know that everything happens for a reason, one. And it's also helped me to remember to always trust in God's plan and remember that He is ultimately in control of everything. And I think we live in a world where we can obtain and get so much. And in this context, we can get incredible marks and we can obtain, incredible marks and learn incredible things, right? But sometimes we can get so fixated on this goal and this, thing that we've set for ourselves and trying to do it in our own way and using our own power. And we forget that we have a God who wants us to do well, one, wants us to succeed, two, and doesn't want us to stress or fixate on how we're going to obtain and achieve these amazing things, a lot of the times why we stress and why we don't enjoy the process of obtaining the goals that we've made for ourselves is because we're trying to do things with our own power. So having faith just helps you to remember that, there's certain things that one, you cannot explain, and two, you cannot do with your own power and your own strengths. There's certain miracles that you're going to need in your life. And having faith just helps you to relax and know, like, oh, wow, there is a power, there is a creator, there is a God who loves me, wants me to obtain these things. And I don't need to worry about how I'm going to obtain this. I can relax and know that God has got me. He is in control and that all things are working for my good. So faith has just helped me to calm down in situations where I feel like things are just going haywire. And yeah, I think that's how it's helped me in my academic, you know, life and my academic growth. Like just knowing it's okay. Things don't always have to go the way you want them to go. God is in control, and you just have to trust and let Him in certain things. And that doesn't mean you should relax and sit down and like not study or anything like that. But it just means like in the process of studying, you don't need to kill yourself and try and manipulate things and control things. You can know like it's all working out for my good, and God has got me. So yeah, faith has really played an important role in just having a good academic experience and academic journey.
That is so wonderful. It reminds me of that statement, do your best and God will do the rest. Having that faith, that belief that no matter what's going on, no matter how difficult the journey seems or how it seems like, oh, you know what, things are not working out, just having that
Mm.
belief and faith really is all you need. You don't need to worry about the how because God is
Yeah,
going to take care of that. So that's so
exactly.
wonderful. As you were speaking, I was actually reminded of, sometimes when you think of academics or that journey like of going through school, we always think, okay, fine, for me to do and be the best for myself, right?
Mm.
With my academics, I just need to focus only on my academics. But that's not necessarily true. You need to have that balance. So, what is
Mm.
your take on, being well rounded, being balanced, not just focusing solely on academics, but, finding that balance or, that good integration between, maybe sports or cultural activities or just anything outside of academics that also is still good, but, helps you to ensure that you excel, like, in every single thing that you're doing, every aspect of your life, having that well-roundedness. So what's your take on that? Like, are there anything that you is there anything that you do outside of academics, be it sports, be it cultural activities, what are some of those things that you have implemented in your own life that help you to still excel academically, but have a life outside of academics?
Mm. No, I definitely hear you. Firstly, I definitely do agree. Like, your life is filled with many different aspects, and the moment you focus on one thing completely and neglect other aspects of your life, you start to become very, very miserable. So it's very, very important for you to be an all-rounder and dabble in a lot of things. But what I've learned, right, from going through this academic journey is every single era of your life, you have. Okay. What I've learned from going through this academic journey is that in every single era of your life, you have different levels of energy. So when we were in primary school, we were doing 8 subjects and like 15 different sports and like 30 different cultural activities. And we could still get home and be like, oh, okay, I still want have energy to watch TV, do my homework, and go to sleep at a good time. In high school, you realize you don't necessarily have as much energy because the content that you're taking in requires a lot more of your brain power. So you don't necessarily have like time to be doing 15 different sports and 30 different extramural activities. But it's important for you to also have those extramurals and those different like sporting activities. And then when you get into university, you realize you actually have slightly less energy, and also slightly less time because your classes are taking up more of your time and more of your energy, and the content you're learning is even more and more complex. So I think it's very important when being an all-rounder in like whilst including academics, it's very important to see how much time you have available and choose activities outside of academics that align with the amount of time that you have. Like a lot of people think, okay, in high school, I did netball for 3 hours after school. So when I get to university, in order for me to be an all rounder, I need to do 3 hours of netball after school as well. You are going to die if you try to do as intense work, after school, like in university, So you need to branch out and find activities that allow you to relax and not focus on academics, but that align with the amount of time or free time that you have when you are looking at the amount of work that you need to do as well in academics. So it's very important for you to have good time management to allow yourself to explore and branch out into those activities, but incorporate them in your life in such a way that you're not putting too much stress on yourself. Because sometimes these extra activities that we do can add more stress into our lives and not allow us to relax. So it's very important to be mindful of how this extra activity or this, external thing that's outside of academics is actually affecting you in the long run. Is it taking up more of the time that you have to sleep? Is it taking up more of the time that you have to spend with your friends and your family? Is it taking up or eating into the time that you have to do your academics? If it's not balanced, you're not going to be able to maintain it, and in the long run it's going to end up hindering the progress that you're trying to actually obtain by doing extra things and coming or taking a break from academics. So I think my advice with that is, yes, it's very important, but also be mindful of how it is influencing every other area of your life. Make sure it is balanced and make sure it aligns perfectly with the extra time and extra energy that you have in your day. Yeah.
Yes, that's very true. Hey, it's so important to be mindful of that and to know yourself as well. Just
Mm,
because my friend is doing netball, then that doesn't mean I must also join in.
yeah.
Know what works for you, know what you like. It's one
Mm,
thing playing netball because, oh, my friend Natasha is playing it. But if you actually enjoy it and it's something that brings you joy, you will, it'll be more beneficial to you rather than you just, oh, okay, because, I
mm,
have like an extra hour and I'm just going to do it because my friend does it. So also knowing yourself, even when it comes to, studying as well, different
mm,
people study differently. So, you need to take that time to understand and know yourself so that you're excelling at your best level. Get inspiration from others. You see, right now with us
yes.
speaking, we've gotten a bit of inspiration, we've gotten some ideas, but just because, Natasha got 7 distinctions and she was studying 24 hours or she was studying 5 hours, doesn't mean now I must duplicate. Let me get inspiration and try to implement it in how my own life is because, everybody's life is different. Don't copy and paste.
Mm.
Get some inspiration and then alter it and make it work for yourself.
True. And
As
with
we're
that,
closing the episode, yes,
can I just
yeah,
add, and with knowing
yes,
yourself, remember that it is a continuous process. What you know about yourself now is not what you're going to always be in the future. So it's always important to try new things. Don't just say, because in high school I did soccer, in primary school I did soccer, in uni I must do soccer. There's so many interesting and amazing things out there that you can learn. And it's very important for you to put yourself out there and try those new things and learn. Who knows, you might be very great at singing. Hey, you really could be really great at singing, even though you were horrible at it in primary school. So it's always important to know that knowing yourself and learning about yourself is a continuous process. And it's not something that you do when you're in primary school and then you have to stay that person until you're like 50. So, just to add to that, knowing yourself and doing what you like, always try new things and continue to learn yourself. Not know yourself, but continue to learn yourself and remember and understand who you are in the process.
yes, yes, you're very right about that. So, as we close off this wonderful episode, what advice would you like to give to students to help them, attain academic excellence or performance consistently? What advice can you give to people who also want to upgrade their marks, who want to perform better? Maybe they're sitting at a 70 and maybe they want to get a 90, or maybe they're not performing so well. What advice would you give to these students, to inspire them, to motivate them, to remind them that they're more than capable, and academic excellence and performance is attainable for any and everybody, as long as you're willing to put in that effort.
Hmm. Okay. This yo, this is very important advice, and I have so much to say and so much advice to give. But I think the most important advice I would give, I think for me, would be believe in yourself. It all starts, everything you obtain and achieve in life starts with what you think and what you believe about yourself. And just like I mentioned earlier, like you're continuously learning and you're continuously growing as a person. It's always good to grow your belief as well. Um, you're you won't be able to get far in life if you're trying to obtain something that you don't believe you can obtain, that you don't believe you're worthy of obtaining or deserving of obtaining. So it's important to speak to yourself and tell yourself, I'm capable of getting that 70, 80, 90, whatever it is that I want. I'm capable of getting it, and I am worthy of deserving it. And I am allowed to go for it, and I'm allowed to strive for it, and you know I'm allowed to go and get it for myself. Believe that you're capable and worthy of obtaining the things that you want. If you walk around knowing that you are able to obtain whatever it is that you want, no one can stop you. No one and nothing can stop you. No matter how many times you fall down, you're always going to get up because you believe and you know that you can get that. So, yeah, it always starts with your mind. And if there's something that you want, tell yourself you can get it and know that you can get it. Believe and trust that you can get it, and then go for it and don't stop until you get it, because you are capable. Anyone is capable of getting whatever it is that they put their mind to. And it's just a matter of believing and trusting that you are able to get it. That's it. That's the best advice I can give. Everything else I feel like comes
Thank
secondary
you.
to that. Mm.
Thank you so much, Natasha. Thank you so much. Very inspirational. And yes, you have to have that vision. You need to see it for
Mm.
yourself. You need to know that you're capable, you're
Mm.
worthy, and you
Mm.
will be able to, attain that goal. Even if there seems to be so many roadblocks, so many trials,
Yeah.
having that knowledge, or that that hope and that faith to say, okay, I can do this, and
Mhm.
wanting it, because you have
Yes.
to put in that work for yourself,
Mm.
and then you'll be able to attain it. So
Mm.
thank you so much, Nat, for joining me on this wonderful episode. Very insightful, very inspirational, and all the best as you also go ahead and complete your studies.
Thank you so, so much for having me. This was such a beautiful episode. I really, really enjoyed it. You came with really, really interesting and thought provoking questions. I really needed to answer those questions for myself as well and remind myself of what it is I'm actually doing in this academic career. So, yeah, thank you so much for having me.
It is a pleasure. It is a pleasure. Have a good day. Bye.
You as well. Bye.
Thank you all so much for joining us on this episode of Graceful Realities. Remember to keep striving for excellence in all that you do. Stay motivated and resilient, even when faced with obstacles. Your efforts and commitment will not only shape your academic success, but also enrich your life and the lives of those around you. Believe in your potential and let your passion for learning guide you to new heights. As we head into the new month, I would like to share the verse of the month, which is James 1 verse 5, and it reads, "If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you." Stay tuned for more inspiring conversations. Remember to embrace life's grace always. Until next time, take care.